As I walked to the entrance, I saw my husband standing there with a woman I didn't recognize. She was young and beautiful. When I asked who she was, my husband smiled and said, "This is my new wife. From now on, we'll live together in this house." "What are you talking about? I don't understand," I replied, shocked. "That's why I'm telling you. I'm divorcing you. I've become the president and taken over this house," he said. "What do you mean?" "Just leave quickly. We don't need you anymore, Auntie," he added. With those harsh words, my husband and his new wife kicked me out of the house. My name is Sandy, and I'm a 30-year-old office worker. I work at a company owned by my father and help him both at work and in his personal life. Ever since my mother passed away, it's just been the two of us. To support my father, I started cooking and cleaning in middle school and also made his lunches. My father appreciated my efforts and helped me with my studies. Thanks to him, I got into a good high school and later went on to university. After graduating, I decided to work at my father's company to repay him. The workplace was full of kind people, and I felt satisfied when we all worked together to achieve great results. I was happy working there. One day, I met a man named Joey, who had just joined the company. He was 2 years older than me, and I was immediately drawn to his warm personality and way of speaking. He was enthusiastic about his work and quickly became friends with our colleagues. I thought he was a great person. At first, we were just colleagues, but after a year-end party, we started talking more personally, and soon we began going out to eat together. Although I was hesitant about romance at first, I found myself wanting to spend more time with him. I even started suggesting dates. We grew closer, and one day he confessed his feelings to me. We started dating. After we began dating, I became even more motivated at work. I was serious during work hours, but I also enjoyed spending time with him during lunch breaks and after work. He knew many fun places to go on dates and took me to restaurants I hadn't tried before, even though I'd worked in that town for a long time. Our relationship went well, and about a year after we started dating, we began talking about marriage. We even told my father about our plans. Joey nervously told my father, "I'm going out with Sandy, and we're considering marriage." I also shared our intentions, and my father was overjoyed. He gave us his blessing with a big smile. Feeling relieved with my father's approval, our relationship continued smoothly. About a year and a half after we started dating, Joey proposed to me. He handed me a ring and said, "Let's get married soon and reassure your father." I happily accepted his proposal and immediately told my father. My father was thrilled and exclaimed, "Oh, you're finally getting married." Afterward, we visited Joey's family home and I met his mother. I learned that Joey also grew up in a single-parent family. His mother had divorced his father when Joey was young because his father had an affair. After the divorce, Joey's mother returned to her parents' home and began studying for a national exam. After 2 years of hard work, she passed the bar exam and became a lawyer. She had once given up on her dream of becoming a lawyer, but after her husband's betrayal, she decided to surpass him and succeeded. Joey's mother was strict, and he warned me. My mother often scolded me, and honestly, it was tough. She might be strict with you too. Feeling nervous, I replied, "Okay, I understand." But I also admired Joey's mother for her accomplishments. Then, the day came when I met his mother for the first time. "Nice to meet you," I said. "I'm Sandy." When I greeted Joey's mother, I had a serious expression. She responded politely, "Nice to meet you, I'm Joey's mother." But I could feel the tension. "Please come in," she said, and I entered the house, realizing she was just as strict as Joey had described. During the marriage introduction, she asked me many questions and it felt like an interview. But in the end, she approved of our marriage. After that, Joey and I had our wedding and started our new life together. We enjoyed commuting and coming home together since we worked at the same company. People at work called us the ideal couple, which was a bit embarrassing but made me happy. On weekends, we went on drives or traveled together, creating many fun memories. Every day, I was truly glad I married him. However, there was one thing that concerned me, my mother-in-law. We regularly visited Joey's mother because she lived alone, and we felt it was important to check on her. But each time we visited, she would say harsh things to me. "Sandy, you need to believe in yourself more. You should be able to say no to things you don't like. If you can't handle difficult situations, you won't be able to cope when you're in trouble." "Yes, I understand," I would reply. Do you really understand what I'm saying? She would ask again. Yes, I do, I would say, trying to sound firm. Every visit to Joey's mother made me tense. Even when I was thinking about whether to focus on my family or continue working, she had strong opinions. Why would you quit your job after graduating from university? You can quit anytime, but you shouldn't quit lightly. You can manage household chores with some creativity, so don't quit your job. Hearing her say this made it hard for me to decide to quit. In fact, I was scared to tell her if I quit my job. I couldn't even imagine how much she would scold me. So I tried to balance work and household chores in my own way. Even though Joey would eventually take over the family business and I could have chosen to be a housewife, I decided to keep working, following her advice. It was very hard to stand up to Joey's mother. Even when I helped with household chores at her house, she often had harsh words for me. You need to assert yourself more. Standing your ground is important because the only person who can protect you is yourself. Her words often hurt me deeply, but Joey always comforted me. My mother is just as strict with herself as she is with others. That's why she has few friends. Don't take her words too much to heart, he would say, and his words brought me relief. After that, we started to visit Joey's mother less often. But another concern came up, my father's health. Every time I saw him, he looked tired. Are you okay? Do you feel unwell? I would ask, and although he would respond, no, I'm fine, it was clear he wasn't in good health. One day while at work, my father suddenly collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, his life wasn't in danger, but he was very weak, and the doctors advised us to live with him if possible, to monitor his condition. When I discussed this with Joey, he immediately agreed. We should live with your father and keep an eye on him since I'm worried about his health, Joey said. Thank you, Joey, I replied. At first, my father hesitated to live together, but after I strongly insisted that we should prioritize his health, he agreed. We moved into my childhood home to start our life together. Living together went smoothly, and Joey and my father built a good relationship. I felt comforted being able to live close to my father as he grew older. He became less active than before, and it was inevitable that he wouldn't always stay energetic. With age, there was a constant concern about sudden illness or a decline in his health. Then one day, something slightly worrying happened when I returned home from shopping. One day, I found Joey on the phone in our bedroom. He was saying, yeah, everything will be in our hands soon. Don't worry, everything is going according to plan. I was curious about what he was talking about, but I decided not to eavesdrop. I went to the kitchen to put away the groceries. After Joey finished his call, he came to me. Are you back already? He asked. Yes, I just got home. I didn't want to interrupt since you were on the phone, I replied. Did you hear that? Joey asked, looking a bit concerned. No, I definitely didn't listen, I said. Okay, he said, but he looked troubled. This made me feel anxious. Since we work at the same place, I doubted it was a work call. It might have been his mother, but he doesn't get along well with her, so that seemed unlikely. I couldn't help but wonder who he was talking to and what it was about. However, around that time my father's health got worse, and I had to focus on him. He couldn't walk anymore and needed care. Considering your father's condition, you should quit your job to take care of him. I'll be taking over the company, so you don't need to work anymore, Joey suggested. I started to agree, but then I remembered his mother's advice to keep working and stand strong on my own. Her words felt important now. No, let's hire a daytime helper, I decided. Joey looked surprised. I think the company would be unstable if my father were gone, even with you as the president. I want to support everyone at the company and also support you, I explained. I see, Joey said, though he looked a bit disappointed. Despite his concern, I felt that quitting my job wasn't the right choice, so I stuck to my decision. After that, my days were busy with work, household chores, and taking care of my father. At night, my father seemed sorry for being a burden, but I didn't mind taking care of him. Meanwhile, Joey was also busy with taking over the company, making our lives even more hectic. Then we received some joyful news. I was pregnant. My father was extremely happy and eagerly awaited the birth of his grandchild. I was also overjoyed knowing that I could show my father his grandchild's face. However, when I told Joey about the pregnancy, his expression clouded for a moment. You're pregnant? He asked. Yes, it's our child. Aren't you happy? I responded. Of course I'm happy. It was just unexpected and surprising, that's all, he said. Well, you're going to be a dad now, so you've got to do your best, I said, trying to encourage him. Yeah, he replied, but he seemed reluctant, which worried me. After a safe delivery, my father met his grandchild for the first time and wept with joy. When we visited Joey's mother, who was usually quite strict, she also smiled gently when she saw her grandchild. She lifted the baby up and said, "She's truly adorable, Sandy. You did well giving birth while also managing work, household chores, and caregiving. That must have been incredibly hard." Her praise made me feel surprisingly pleased. Maybe Joey's mother wasn't just strict after all. Many people celebrated the birth of our child, which was very heartwarming. I planned to focus on parenting with Joey's help. However, shortly after, my father's health rapidly declined. Despite receiving treatment in the hospital, he passed away a week later. Dad, why? I grieved. It was then revealed that my father had been diagnosed with cancer 6 months ago and had been told his time was limited. But he had kept this from me because he didn't want to worry me. With a child on the way, he was determined to live long enough to see his grandchild, a testament to his strong will. Learning about my father's feelings, I couldn't hold back my tears. The funeral was held, and many people attended, showing how much my father was loved. I managed to perform my duties as the chief mourner without shedding tears, keeping my composure throughout the ceremony. After the funeral, we sorted through his belongings. During this time, Joey naturally took over as president of the company. For about a month, everything was peaceful. However, after that, something unbelievable happened. That day, there was unexpected bad weather with a torrential downpour. Joey said he was going out to shop, but I felt uneasy. While I was feeding the baby, Joey returned. I went to greet him at the entrance, relieved to see him back. "Welcome back," I said. "I'm home," Joey replied. Then I noticed an unfamiliar woman standing with him. She was quite young and beautiful. "Who is this woman?" I asked as I approached the entrance. Joey smiled and said, "This is my new wife. From now on, we will live together in this house." "What are you talking about? What is this all of a sudden?" "I don't understand," I said, shocked. "That's why I'm telling you. I'm divorcing you. I've become the president and have taken over this house." "What do you mean?" "Just leave quickly. We don't need you anymore, Auntie," Joey said harshly, and his mistress smirked. I was forced out of the house with my baby in my arms, into the pouring rain. Desperate, I knocked on the door and pressed the intercom, but neither Joey nor the woman he was with responded. With nowhere to go, I remembered a small tunnel-shaped play structure in a nearby park. I ran there to shelter from the rain. Both the baby and I were soaked, and I knew I had to find warmth and help quickly. Even though I felt hopeless, I decided to call my mother-in-law. Despite our differences, I believed she would help for the sake of her grandchild. I explained the situation over the phone, and to my relief, she came to pick us up immediately. "Sandy," she called out when she saw me. "Mother," I replied. "Quick, get in the car," she urged, driving us to her home. She took both the baby and me inside. "Please take care of this child," I pleaded. My mother-in-law frowned slightly but responded, "What are you talking about? You come in too." "Is it really okay for me to?" I asked, surprised. "Of course you are family too," she said. Her kind words nearly brought me to tears. "I'm truly sorry for Joey's irresponsible behavior," she continued. "I've always seen some of his father's traits in him, but I thought you would keep him in line. Yet he still caused trouble." Her understanding and support in that moment not only offered me shelter, but also renewed my hope and faith in family. "Am I really wonderful?" I asked, taken aback by her praise. "Of course you are. You've managed the household chores, caregiving, parenting, and work all by yourself. I respect you for that. That's why I can't forgive my son for betraying someone like you," she said. Her words moved me to tears. She had been observing all my efforts all along. "Don't cry. Be strong. You're a mother," she advised, gently patting my head and making me some warm coffee. After I calmed down, my mother-in-law spoke with determination. "Now it's time to fight back. We'll correct this wrongdoing." She offered her support as a lawyer and prepared to stand by my side. I couldn't have wished for stronger support, and together, we crafted a plan to confront Joey and his mistress. When we arrived at the house, Joey greeted us dismissively. "What are you doing here?" But when he saw his mother behind me, his expression changed to shock. "Why is Mom here?" "Joey, today I am not here as your mother but as a lawyer. We have a lot to discuss, so let us in. If you refuse, we will meet in court," she stated firmly. Joey reluctantly let us in. The mistress looked shocked to see my mother-in-law and was even more astounded when she learned that she was a lawyer. "Let's start the discussion," my mother-in-law said. "You said you've inherited the house, but where are the documents? Sandy was supposed to inherit it." "I've properly prepared the documents and completed the procedures, so there's no issue," Joey replied. "That's not correct. Sandy says she doesn't remember signing any such documents. Ownership transfer documents require the actual person's signature," my mother-in-law countered. Caught off guard, Joey stumbled over his words. It became clear that the documents had been forged. "Document forgery is a legally punishable act. Do you understand what you've done? Ignorance won't save you," my mother-in-law continued. Joey started to sweat, and his panic became evident. The mistress also looked anxious. "Sandy signed it. She was just upset and forgot." Joey tried to defend himself. "No, I did not sign anything. A handwriting analysis will prove it. You forged the documents," I calmly replied. "Joey, stop this nonsense," my mother-in-law scolded, causing him to stagger. "Sorry, I had her forge it," he confessed. "This makes the evidence complete," my mother-in-law stated, indicating a voice recorder. Joey turned pale and fell silent. The mistress was also visibly shaken. "As Sandy's attorney, I demand that you divide the property and leave this house immediately," my mother-in-law declared. "Why are you supporting her, Mom?" Joey pleaded. "Sandy is a respectable person. Once she married you, she became part of my family, making her important to me too," my mother-in-law responded. "But I am your real son," he protested. "You have betrayed this family. From now on, I am severing ties with you. Don't show your face to us ever again," she said. Disheartened, Joey hung his head in shame. The mistress seemed petrified. After this confrontation, Joey and I divorced, and I was able to recover my father's estate. Joey lost his position at the company and was eventually forced to resign. He left the company almost as if he were fleeing. Afterward, I took over my father's company and became its president. My mother-in-law helped take care of the baby during the day. I never expected that someone I once found difficult would become such a significant support. I am truly grateful for her assistance. As for Joey, after leaving the company, he failed to secure a large house, and the mistress abandoned him. Now, he's burdened with debt and child support payments, struggling to make ends meet through part-time jobs. As president, I am working hard to protect the livelihoods of our employees and care for my child. This challenging journey has reaffirmed the value of family and resilience, guiding me to lead both my family and the company toward a stable future.